share with the group. Okay, we are recording. Roxanne, any opening remarks from you?
Let me think. Well, no. Well, first of all, I really liked, again, when I was looking at this, I love, and I would like to maybe, I would like to incorporate this somehow to where, you know how you talked about writing your goals down on a spiral notebook? I think that's huge. And who's really going to go get a spiral notebook? So the next go around, what I would do is say, okay, everyone needs to go get a spiral notebook, because I want you to write your goals. I mean, because even me, I was thinking I need to do this like when I was doing this like Tuesday, and this is Thursday and I still haven't done it. So on my list of things to do today is I am going to go get something that I can write my goals down every day, like you said, because the only way this information that you're giving us is going to be implemented is if we do it. So my insight is you can take in this information, but if we don't do any action with it, we're still going to be in the same place. So somehow we need to, with our accountability partners or something, make sure that some of these actions get done.
Yeah, I like that. And I've had a couple of people reach out to me about accountability buddies as well. So if you know somebody on this call and you want to work with them, reach out to them. If you don't know someone, reach out to Roxanne or I, and we can help partner you with someone that can be your accountability partner to help you get through the material as we go along. Perfect. I like that. Thank you very much, Roxanne. Okay, so I'm going to open it up. Who has an insight that they'd like to share?
I'll share. But
Go ahead, Kim.
No, I mute. Okay. So I missed Tuesday. I hated missing that. Sorry about that. But so y'all may have discussed the sigmoid curve Tuesday. But Trisha, last summer when I went through your business coaching, I was in the decline phase. And now when I did it, I think I'm in the learning. And that's part of why I wasn't here Tuesday. I've got so much going on, so many different things happening that, yeah, that's where I think I am now. So I'm trying to remember, does this just keep going in like a cycle? Can we stop it at some point before we get to decline and say, no, I want to go back to learning?
So the natural flow would be going into the decline phase, but the decision that you can make, Kim, as you go into that decline phase is a reinvent. So that reinvent could be hiring someone. It could be changing the way that you do a particular process inside your office. It could be changing a system. It could be something really, really simple that would take you out of that decline phase and back into the learning phase. All right. Hey, Philip, we love you, but there's a whole lot of noise, and I muted your video, but I can't mute your audio. Thank you, my friend. So you are absolutely in charge of that decline phase. It's always going to be in front of you, but you own if you want to go back into the learning phase. And it really is about making that 1% adjustment. Sometimes it's something super small. It doesn't have to be hiring 2 new people, which I know that you've had to go through, and that's a big change. It could be something as simple as deciding to stop selling a particular product, or to change one thing in the way that your clients are receiving information, to put a CRM in place. It could be something as simple as that. So you can control some of it, but a lot of it is just natural flow and the way things happen, because it happens in the world, happens in our lives. It doesn't just happen in business. So very good question. I saw somebody else with their hand up. Was it Kay?
Rose.
No, Rose. Go for it, Rose.
Oh, no, I was going through, first of all, I agree with Dr. Roxanne. I had to get a binder for all Trisha's coursework. I like Dr. Roxanne. She gave one sheet. This is so like my homework style. But I think, really having it written down, and just like Dr. Roxanne, just echo to that, absolutely. But my biggest insight was and I'm going to go through your video on how you describe it again, but really we just got to try being better first, and building that better team, and just being a little bit better before we can say, okay, we're we want to win at everything. Let's just try to improve first.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think, Roxanne, you talked about it on Tuesday, the point being we can be the best rider ever and we can pedal ourselves to death, right? But until we have the best bike, which are the systems and the teams and the things that we depend on, we're never going to win the race, right? We're going to be exhausted when we get to the end. So Rose, I completely understand where you're coming from, and building that better bike is what we have to concentrate on, because we can't do everything, although we like to. Some of us are control freaks. I'll bet you are on that train with me. Yeah. Sometimes we have to allow people to help us get where we need to go, and that's how we build a better bike, for sure. Anybody else have an insight?
Yep.
Gretchen.
So I had a couple. So on the sigmoid, sorry I missed last week. I had a conflicting schedule. But on the curve, it seems like logically I'd be on the decline, but I don't feel like I'm there, right? Because I am implementing new things. And so I'm not sure exactly where I am. I don't think I think I'm still growing, because I'm not ready to retire yet. I'm far from it. And I'm still doing things to improve my business. So I don't know if that would qualify. And then I found myself this weekend, my eating patterns, I didn't want to take a weekend off of the diet. And then I got to Tuesday, and it's like, and then I fell off the wagon because I thought, oh, I was on it all weekend. Therefore, Tuesday just, I hit the ground, right? So I'm working on that. That's a challenge.
Yeah, and I want to touch on that, because that's a very important point. The reason why I tell people Monday through Friday, eat really clean, Saturday and Sunday, if you want to cheat. The purpose of that is because I'm trying to teach you not to give in to something because you feel like there needs to be a reward. Meaning, like I said, I think 2 weeks ago I wanted a cookie on Wednesday. I don't know why it sounded good, probably because my blood sugar was low. And I fought it. I didn't go get it. And then Saturday I was at the grocery store and I was like, it doesn't even sound good to me. But Sunday, for some reason at 4 o'clock, I'm like, it's still the weekend. I want that cookie. And I went and I ate half of that cookie, and that was good enough. But I'm teaching myself that and there are some weekends I don't want to cheat, but try to keep that organization that Monday through Friday is clean, Saturday and Sunday is in cheats, because that way you're going to train yourself not to give in to something just because at the moment it sounds good. And that's the purpose of that, because if you start doing on Tuesday, then what's going to happen is it's going to start being more and more different days. So it's teaching your mind like, oh, that sounds good, but you know what? I'll have it on the weekend. Pretty soon that becomes second nature, and because it's in front of you, you're not going to have to eat it.
Thank you.
All right, who else has an insight from this week's material?
I do.
And it's okay to talk about the material from the front part of the week too. It's okay, we have plenty of time. Go ahead, Julia.
Okay, so this weekend was Memorial Weekend, and it was my niece's birthday, and I had a baby shower. So we had burgers, fries, hot dogs, all kinds of stuff. But my dad knows I'm a little bit healthier, so he cooked some turkey burgers with wheat bread and all that good stuff. So instead of having the wheat bread, because I didn't want to calculate everything, get the box out of the trash and do all my calculations. That's being too much right there, right? So I got my little turkey burger. I put some spinach, a little bit of avocado, drizzled some ketchup, and they all looked at me like, is that all you're going to eat? Because they had nachos, and I'm like, yeah, this is it. I'm like, I already had 2 meals before this. So I was good. I did have a sliver of piece of my niece's cake on Saturday and Sunday, because that would just be rude, not having a piece of cake.
No. Yeah.
So, but I was okay with it because I didn't overindulge in the cake. I ate better things than just a big old burger and the fries. So I felt satisfied.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of just that, because normally I'll probably eat just a whole burger. Yeah, and then just drinking more water, that is a huge thing for me. So I think those are some of the things that I've really been able to keep up. And last night we had a family dinner at my mother-in-law's house, and everyone had Mambo's. Well, there's really no healthy food at Mambo's. Everyone loves that fried rice, and it was fried everything. But I told my husband I need grilled, so he made them get me a separate plate. I had some corn, one little potato. Probably wasn't the best fish, but I had, you know, a little piece of grilled fish and like a skewer of shrimp. But that's what I had, and I didn't even have the rolls or anything. So I know it probably wasn't the best option, but it was better than eating the fried food. So that was huge for me.
That sounds like a win.
Yeah, no, that is awesome. And you know, I do the same thing. Every once in a while, my husband wants to go to Fuddruckers. So I get the elk burger, and what I do is I put the hamburger on lettuce. I have 2 lettuce wraps, and inside of it, like 2 pieces of lettuce, and I'll put pickles, onions, a little bit of barbecue sauce, avocado, and I hold the lettuce and eat that like a hamburger instead of with the bread. But that's great, Julia. That sounds like a huge win.
Thank
Anybody
you.
else have something to, yeah, that's wonderful, Julia. Great job. Does anybody else have an insight to share from this week?
I do.
Go ahead, Edith.
So I was looking at watching the videos from the labels, and I was like, my eye was just like, oh my God, you know, I would have never, if I saw like the, you know, like 7% fat, I would probably choose that one. Now I was like, okay, well, I need to pay more attention to the label. So that was a big insight for me that I learned from the videos about the nutritional facts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I did
huge.
too.
Yeah, that's a really huge thing. And the reason for that, like I talked about, I think on Tuesday, is that it's so frustrating to me because I have a lot of cardiac patients who shouldn't be eating fat. So they're reading these labels. Oh, it's only 7% fat. Oh, look, and they believe the labels, and it makes me mad that the companies can get away with it. So I'm having patients that are eating these 7% turkey burgers and turkey bacon and turkey, but it's like 40-something% fat. So they might as well be eating ground hamburger meat. And there's only one of me. I'm trying to explain to them, no, the labels. And I don't know why no one else is talking about the labels, but truly, you can think you're doing great and everything's wonderful, but they are basically just deceiving you to be eating the wrong foods. And how frustrating is that? I mean, if I'm going to eat 46% fat of anything, it's going to be hamburger meat. I'm not going to waste it on turkey.
Do you have
May as
all
well
those
taste good.
formulas on something on a PDF or something that you can send, like a 1-pager?
Yeah, it should be in the on the online thing. There's a piece of paper you can download.
Yeah, so Gretchen, directly after Roxanne's video that we did for part 2, there's a downloadable. It's a 1-pager that has the formulas on it for you.
I missed that.
You may have just pushed the button and skipped over it, but it's there. You can definitely go back and take a look at that. And I wanted to circle back to something, to Julia's comment on these amazing things that she's doing. And it's, you know, one, it's changing your diet, but it's also changing your mindset, right? Where you show up to a party and you say, you know what, I don't have to eat like everyone else. You do the same thing in your business where you don't have to be doing everything that everyone else is doing, right? So that mindset is super important in both your business and your life. And if you choose to eat the right food, then that's what you choose. And your mind is telling you it's okay that I'm not eating like everyone else. I'm not an outcast because I choose to eat something better, right? As a matter of fact, she may help other people with their mindset by doing those things. So Julia, good for you. I love that.
Trisha?
I know my whole family asked me if I was on a diet. I'm like, I'm not on a diet. I'm just trying to eat better. And they're like, oh, I need to too. I was like, yeah, because all the products are good. So I didn't even eat a fry. I was surprised I didn't even eat a fry. So even though it was a weekend, I did probably, have some ice cream or cake here and there, but I didn't overindulge in the food. So
That's good.
That's awesome. Ellie?
I have two insights. One is, well, you're talking about food. It's so funny because my son turned 35 Friday, and his son's birthday, he turned 6. They have the same birthday. But he calls, says, Mom, I know you're eating healthy, and we're doing pizza. So what do you want me to fix you? So that's really good. So they don't even say I'm dieting. They know I'm eating healthy. They're proud of us. So that people start learning, and they know, and they respect that, and that's what I appreciate. The other thing is, as just kind of, because I'm behind a little bit, and I was looking at a video you did, Trisha, which is really good for me because I am retired, but I'm always going, and I have a small little business doing vinyls and woodworking and stuff. But you had a video about your mindset, and you had the diagram about when you wake up in the morning, and it's just a video. I was wondering if I was trying to take a picture, and every time of the drawing itself, because it's something I'd like, because I journal every day, not just like goals, like every morning. My son bought me, it looks like a Bible, but it's a journaling. It was really cute. They all signed a page in it. But every day I like journal. I do my Bible verse. It's kind of like being retired and always on the go. It's something I have to sit back and just take a deep breath and do every morning. But I would like a picture of that diagram.
Okay, absolutely. Is it the one, Ellie, is it the one, the mindset where your thoughts drive your feelings and your beliefs, which drive your actions, which drive your results? Is that the one?
Yeah. It was like a little mountain, and you had a diagram going across. But every time I took a picture, it left something out because you were moving as I was going. So that's just like a good little reminder, sitting by your desk or wherever you are, or waking up in the morning on your mirror, because I think, the mind is such a powerful thing.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I will just bring it over here for you, and you can take a picture. How about that? I know you guys think I'm a geek. Don't think I'm a geek. It's here. I save all of that stuff.
I just think my entire family, we all need that. We're all Italian, so we're all emotional, and it's a lot of emotion every morning. My sisters all call me, and I'm thinking, okay, I need to start with this mindset. So,
absolutely. Sorry if I'm making a bunch of noise on the phone. I should have muted.
Being a teacher, and I was training. We actually used the same phases in teaching that you used in a business. And so that was really good. So this impressed me.
Good. I'm glad that you liked it. I'm going to put it right here. Ellie, can you see it?
Well, it's still cutting it off.
Is it?
Maybe if you took a picture and posted it on Facebook.
I'll do it. I'm going to do it right now, sister. Yeah. You got it. Woo. Okay. Anybody else have insights this week? Because I have one. I don't know if you saw the chatter that Dr. Roxanne and I had this morning. So I watched Dr. Roxanne's video and saw that there are 10 sugar packets in a Coca-Cola, and I thought to myself, oh, I would never do that. Would never drink a soda with 10 packets of sugar in it. So I sent my label picture of the protein shake, or the shake, my breakfast shake that I have every morning. And Dr. Roxanne wrote me back and said, there's 2 sugar packets in one little scoop. I felt horrible. I just wasn't paying attention. I'm like, this shake has all kinds of good things in it. It must be good for me. But I'm on a sugar high all morning. No wonder I'm not hungry, right? So I was drinking this shake with 2 packs of sugar, and I was eating the candy, I call them candy bars, the protein bar, which was filled with sugar. No wonder I don't feel good in the afternoon. So thank you.
Trisha, you're not going to have anything left to eat or drink after Dr. Roxanne.
Seriously, Winter, I know. Well, let me tell you what I did. So I had to tell you what I did. So this morning, my husband loves hard-boiled eggs, and I don't love hard-boiled eggs. They're okay. So instead, I poached an egg in the microwave, and I put some onion with it, and that's what I ate. So thank you, Dr. Roxanne, because I love eggs and I love onion, and it's probably way better for me than 2 packets of sugar.
I know. I was.
And you're right, Winter.
My
All for the
comment,
better.
actually, I think my comment, if I remember correctly, was that has a lot of sugar. So what did I say? So you're just going to have to suck it up and
Suck it
eat
up.
eat real food for your
Yes.
7 o'clock meal. I think that's what I said.
Yes, you did. You told me to suck it up. Suck it up, Buttercup. And it, you know, and I know how to eat. I think, and it's just like that business cycle, right? When we talk about the sigmoid curve, I'm in the decline phase because I decided my mindset was it's too hard to eat real food. So I'm just going to buy packaged food. It's fine. Well, it's not fine. And I know I've got inflammation. I have pain. I have all these things going on. And it all points back to all the sugar, right, that I was putting in my body, but not eating sugar. Because I don't eat sweets, but I'm loading up on sugar because it's coming from package and I'm not paying attention. So yeah, I'm going through my own sigmoid curve with my with my food for sure.
Now I'm gonna have to check my protein shake and see what's on the label.
Uh-huh.
I have to. The one thing that I've learned, because I am losing a lot of weight, I'm down 2 sizes, but everybody's like, they all think it's a fast fix. And like I told them, and that's one thing Roxanne has really helped me be aware of, is that it's just food. And you can't have that quick fix with a protein shake. I mean, we don't even own those in the house, like, at all. And you can't do that stuff. You can't put a shake together and think that, or shake it up in the refrigerator and get a protein bar and think that's it, because you're doing more harm than good. And just prepping and getting your food ready is the key. And there's so many quick they gross out. We go on the boat and I have boiled eggs with dill relish, and that's what I have when they're all eating their chips and their, whatever their protein bars. They're about 300 calories. So
Yeah, and Ellie brings up a really good point that I don't know where, and I think it's because just the companies have a great way of commercializing this food. But if you really think about it, it doesn't really take a smart person to realize how in the world do we think we can take a man-made powder, add liquid to it, and drink it, and voila, it's going to turn into amino acids. Because really, when we eat, we see the food, we smell the food, we chew the food, that activates enzymes to come and basically digest and convert the food into amino acids. So when you're just drinking a man-made powder, none of that is happening. And yes, the thing about those drinks, sometimes they have branched chain amino acids in them. That's why they can call it a protein powder, but it's not going to turn into protein like a real meal would. So really, those protein bars and those protein shakes are just liquid branched chain amino acids that really are not going to do anything to help you or to replace a meal. So just remember that, because it's just artificial. Our ancestors did not drink powder and got their nutrition that way. And they commercialized this because it's easy, convenient, and they pretty much targeted people who want the convenience. And because I've asked every company, because people always want me to lecture or to go somewhere and talk about how good their product is. And I always tell them, if you can show me an assay where you do my blood and I drink the food or eat it and you do my blood again, if you can prove to me that I have increased amino acids in my bloodstream from this food, or show me any kind of assay you've done, clinical trials on this, then I'll do it. Well, no one has ever provided me that information. So a lot of the food is just commercialized to make you believe that. Now, if I'm on a plane, I'm not whipping out my egg whites and I'm not whipping out my, I will do a detox drink that has some protein in it, or some kind of a shake that has healthy properties in it, like maybe even some like multivitamins and anti-inflammatory. I might do that on an airplane and shake it up in the water and drink it just until I get off the plane, if it's a long plane ride. But that's the only time I pretty much do protein shakes.
I wanted to add to that, which I don't know, with the plant-based, I watch a podcast about it. It was an actual physician that's basically plant-based, but now they do all the boxes and they do all the pizzas and everything. And he said her intention was never to have plant-based on the market, because now people are going to have heart attacks thinking they went plant-based, because the sodium is quadruple in amount. So like you said, they never thought that the big box stores were going to turn plant-based into boxes and frozen, because that was never the plant-based diet idea, which I didn't know that till I talked to Roxanne and I start reading, because I mean, I sodium affects me really bad. So be aware of that when you say, oh, it's plant-based and I think I can have this, because it's the sodium is quadruple.
Right. It's not real food.
Oh,
It's manufactured.
I'll say this, I did Dr. Roxanne's course, and you know, she actually helped me lose weight right before a photo shoot that was real important to me. And we have BNI together every morning. And so I had in my purse one time, you know, because she was telling me, don't skip a meal, don't skip a meal, don't skip a meal. So I thought I was being great carrying my protein shake to BNI with me. I was going to mix it with water. I was like, man, I'm such a good student. And she looked in my purse. We sat next to each other and she's like, you're not drinking that, are you? I was like, I haven't yet, you know, and it was the Atkins vanilla shake. And I thought I was being awesome because it was low carb. And I mean, she made me feel like I was about to consume poison. So I don't know how I feel about
Well, the other thing, Roxanne, is like with like what is it, the Beachbody? They have that Shakeology and things like that. Is that your?
Yeah, that Shakeology is really bad. It's whey protein, and again, we talked about this a little bit. Whey is a dairy product, and we are not cows. And a long time ago, they've actually said, oh, have milk, have cheese. It's a good dairy. I mean, it's a good protein option. But research is showing that we don't have the cow enzyme to absorb the protein from a cow, like that they're from their milk. And so they have just, again, found a cheap way to find something that in a Petri dish, it does have amino acids that would mean it's pretty much a complete protein, but whey protein is more inflammatory and it's more from cows. So we don't want to do that. Shakeology, I think now they have a soy one and a whey one, but there's a lot of carbs in it. So now you're basically getting, it's almost like a smoothie with fruit in it. And so that's just high sugar. And again, you don't have the complex protein to balance the sugar that's in it, because it's just it's a powder protein. Whereas if you did part of that shake with a chicken breast, your body would assimilate it much different because the protein would slow down that dump of glucose. But when you're doing just a shake with powdered protein, there is no digestion required for that powdered protein. Therefore, you're just dumping it in your system, and it's not going to, it's a better bad choice if you're on an island and you have no nutrition, but you have so many other options here that that's not the best option.
Well, I think what we're all learning is just to eat real food, right? And
Right.
and it
Right.
doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard at all. All right.
Really
So, oh, go ahead, Roxanne.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, just think of this. This is my rule. I do this most of the time. If God made it, it's good. If man made it, it's bad.
Good rule.
Absolutely. All right. So let's move on to wins. Anybody have a win from this past week?
I would like to, I have a comment for my accountability buddy, Rose Duncan. She pulled out her journal y'all were talking about. So I don't write down anything. Probably like Roxanne, I'm just kind of with the flow and just, you know, try to eat the healthiest. But I was really impressed how she could go back on her weight from like last year, and she has the date and her weight, and just to keep her accountable. And I was actually able to see that during our FaceTime call. And that was really impressive for me. So that's something, you know, I know Roxanne gave us a challenge to do that with this week. So she's already on the ball. So kudos to Rose.
Yeah. Yeah, and actually what I did too, after reading the thing about writing your goals down, I loved how it said, you know, when you have goals and you don't write them down, it's like driving through a thick fog. You're going slow, you're very hesitant, progress is slow. But when you actually write down your goals, then basically it's like the fog lifts and you can accelerate and go faster towards the goal. And so I've never done this before. I actually wrote down a goal that I want to, my goal is to have it accomplished in 1 year. And I wrote it down, and I've never done that before. And so I kind of also did what Tricia said is, if I'm going to do it in a year, what does that mean in the quarters? Like how, where do I need to be up to that time? So I love that. And I'm going to look at it every day. And I would never do that because sometimes I just fly by the seat of my pants. And to sit down and write something, I rather put a needle in my eye because at least I can do that while I'm moving. I don't have to sit. So I think that's a huge win for me. And it felt good when I did it.
Good. That's awesome. Well, and I think Rose brought it up on Tuesday, writing it in with an active verb and writing it as though it already happened, right? That's all mindset, you guys. It's all mindset. So if you're writing your goals, whether it's your health goals or your business goals, it really is about writing them down as if it already happened, right? So if you have a goal in mind, you want to use those active verbs and write it as though you've already been there today, and then put your date next to it and work towards it. And I like your thought, Roxanne, about taking it in small chunks, right? So you have something you want to accomplish in a year, and if you put it on paper and you don't look at it until the next year, which a lot of business owners do with their businesses, the only time they're looking at their books is when they need to turn it over to their tax person or their CPA, right, Edith? When they should actually be looking at their books and what's happening in their business more than just once a year. So we have to use those tactical stop points, if you will. I think that's in the next lesson, really using those tactical stop points so that we can get to end game without it being overwhelming. So good point, Roxanne.
So I have
Anybody
a comment
else have a win?
I do.
Go ahead, Kay.
So I did Trisha's full-blown course. I think we started in January, and that was one of the things I had never done was set a goal, a long-term, even a short-term goal. I just flying by the seat of my pants. And so I started writing goals every night and then every morning. And one of those was to reach out to everyone in my database, and I have successfully done that. So either by email, yeah, I know, and it's huge, especially with all the COVID stuff going on, and and I didn't reach out to them saying, hey, you thinking about selling, you know anybody who's selling, blah, blah, blah. It was, hey, I've been thinking about you, how are you guys handling all of this? Or, I saw on Facebook that your daughter's graduate, blah, blah, that kind of stuff. And so that was huge for me to go, I did it, and you just get to cross that off of your list. I mean, I'll continue to stay in touch with them, of course.
Right.
But and then another thing that I learned from Tisha was not only writing your goals down, but your things to do list, like your task list. Yeah. Because as you're driving in your car and you're marking stuff off of your list, you're like, oh, you get this relief of, oh, that's just 3 more things that are done that I don't have to worry about. And if I don't write them down, I'm driving around going, what was that thing I was gonna do? So, I guess that's just my 55-year-old brain. I don't know. But it's very important to me that I took such a great thing from that lesson, or those classes that we did. So I appreciate you.
Good. Thank you, Kay, very much. And for those of you like Julia, if you don't like using a paper-bound notebook and you don't want to carry it around with you, this has a record function on it. Just start recording your voice. If you have things that you want to do, put on your phone. Just use the record function and start leaving yourself voice notes. Or you could text yourself, or you could send yourself an email. If you don't like journaling, some people don't like the pen and paper, the act of sitting down and being still with a pen and paper. That's okay. You can do it on the go. You can absolutely do it on the go. Some people get creative when they're in the gym. They get creative when they're on walks. They get creative when they're busy and active. Use the technology that we have to record those ideas and goals and things that you want to do. If you don't like the pen and paper, it's okay. But just do it, right? I mean, that's the action. And Kate, you bring up a good point. No one asked me about Eat That Frog. So I assume everyone here knows what Eat That Frog is, because I inserted that into one of my presentations.
Yes, so I wasn't sure,
Right.
was that last week or this week we were going to talk about that? So I
Yeah,
love that.
it was.
Eat That Frog.
Yeah.
I love that. And my desk, well, I'm not going to show it to you right now, but my desk is a complete mess. And during the training or during our course, we were talking about Eat That Frog. And finally one morning I just came in and I just cleaned this desk. I organized my folders. I put everything where they were supposed to be. And I sent Trish a photo like, look at my desk. I ate that frog. It was huge. It was a huge accomplishment. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. Gretchen, you had something?
Yeah, I think it's another insight, but on the goal things, it's like, it's not only for us to check them quarterly to see, oh my gosh, I need to get there, but also to acknowledge our accomplishments and think back and say, reevaluate and say, okay, I got there. Let me think back how I got there and let me replicate that going forward, you know, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you bring up a good point. We have to celebrate those things. When you check things off of a list, your body releases endorphins. It makes you happy when you check things off that list. And if all you do is check it off and move on, especially if it's something big, like Kay cleaning off her desk and getting organized, that was huge. She needed to celebrate those successes. Don't just check them off and move on. If it's a big deal, make a big deal out of it, because that's what makes us happy, right? Those are the kinds of things that we want to continue to do. And like you said, Gretchen, circle back around, and those things that are working for you, yes, continue to do them, especially if they're making you happy and working for you, right?
Yeah, I feel like
Regine?
that's why your diagram is so good, is because my husband and I, we're both retired, and we do in the mornings, we sit together at the counter, and we just kind of write down and I always train teachers, when I used to train teachers, is what do you want to accomplish for the day? And we do sit down and write our stuff down. And so this big thunderstorm came yesterday, but all I thought about is, okay, I got to do everything I need to do on my list. And then, you feel better. But I do agree that you start, and that's why your diagram is so important. That's one of the things, and I think that would be good to add on that diagram at the end, your mindset. Start the day with some accomplishments you want for that day, because that does make you feel much better.
Absolutely. Regina, you had something to share?
I do. I just want to share with the group a tip or tool that can take, setting your day with intentions and goals in terms of what you want to accomplish for the day, the week, the month, the year. I picked it up at a BNI, one of those technical Tuesdays, and it's called Trello. I don't know how many of you use Trello, but for those of you that do not, I really encourage you to go test it out. It's TRELLO.com, and there's a free version, but it allows you to create these boards, and these boards are basically groups and goals, and then you can create lists, which allows you to break what you want to do in the form of task. And it's the coolest thing. I stumbled again across it in a BNI event, and I absolutely love it. It's sort of a project management tool, but it allows you to be very effective, very efficient, and you get a lot done, and you get those, that warm, fuzzy feeling for getting something done that you put was important, and you get a chance to prioritize what it is you want to do. So you guys check it out.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Regina.
You bet.
Any other wins?
So this is Winter. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
The win that I would like to talk about today is a small win, but after last week's meeting, or Tuesday's meeting, there was a whole discussion about milk, and I was mortified. So of course, the next thing I do is I go out and buy almond milk, and I bought a container of oat milk. And Dr. Roxanne, if you're gonna shake your head and say don't use that, but I knew getting my kids to go straight almond milk would be a problem. So I'm now mixing almond milk and regular milk, and then I'll continually like just start moving it away. The oat milk I bought mostly for me. I don't care for it, but it feels like it's better than milk. So you can tell me if oat milk was a bad call, but I am going to try to transition this family to more to non-cow's milk. So that's the biggest one I think I've had for the week.
Oh, that's
We
awesome.
are celebrating with you, Winter. That is amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's a big step. Good for you. Because one thing I just want to add, this is just my nerd in me to express another thing about milk. A lot of people are sensitive to it just because of all the antibiotics and stuff that are in it, and your body starts just kind of becoming allergic to it, even if you don't have a lactate intolerance to it. It's the protein you become sensitive to. And one of the things that people don't realize that milk breaks down into a small peptide, and y'all can look this up, called casomorphine, and which is not a big deal. Some people can metabolize it, but there's a huge percent of the population, I think 37%, that can't metabolize this casomorphine. So what happens, it accumulates in your system, crosses the blood-brain barrier, and binds to the opiate receptors of the brain, which creates morphine. So a lot of kids, especially autistic kids and ADHD kids, they love macaroni and cheese, they love pizza, they love milk, they love cheese, I mean, grilled cheese sandwiches, all these things, because they're trying to medicate themselves with this morphine. So sometimes kids, if you see them, and even people, when you have a bad day, if you want a glass of milk, that pretty much, you're probably trying to go for that morphine. So when you take dairy out of your diet, watch for reactions, meaning they might have a headache, they might be irritable, and that's just because they're no longer making all that morphine. So that's why milk and dairy for some people is addictive, because they're basically taking morphine when they do it. So there can be another side of it that you just need to watch. I have a lot of kids, ADHD kids I deal with, they totally have a hard time getting off of milk. So I let them have little bits of it during the week until they can get used to it. So you're doing the right thing, Winter, by doing it slowly so that they don't have a reaction if they were wanting that morphine.
It sounds like they
My
were
mind
wanting
is
morphine.
blown.
Only one of the three noticed it. Yeah, no
Y'all
doubt.
should
I'm
look
giving
that
my
up.
kids morphine.
Casomorphine. Yeah, casomorphine.
Wow.
CASOMORPHINE. It's a really good.
Yay!
Chat. Type it in the chat.
Oh yeah, would you type it in the chat?
Hey, you know,
That'd be
I can't
awesome.
even hardly even get on the chat, much less.
Okay, spell it. I'll put it in there.
I got it. I'm doing it. I'm eating that frog right now.
Yeah, eat that frog. Come on. You're gonna be a tech guru before this is all over with, Roxanne. I just know it.
I know. There you go.
All right. All right. So I love you guys. We've got about 10 minutes left. Does anybody have any questions? And Roxanne, I had one question for you from Cheryl that she wanted me to ask. And she was asking about brown rice is super high in carbs, and that's what she likes to eat. So do you just take away the carb amount from another meal so that you can have the brown rice with a meal?
Okay. So, all rice is high in carbs because rice is a carb. So brown rice is better than white rice because brown rice has some of the fibers and some of the husk still in it. Or white rice, what they do is they take out the husk and the fiber and they bleach it. So brown rice is great, but what she just needs to do is make sure she's not doing more than a half a cup. So her meal plan should be some protein, a half a cup of cooked rice, and a cup of vegetables. And that still will put her under 20 grams of carbohydrates per meal.
Okay, perfect. And she's going to look back at the recording. So that works great. Does anybody else have questions for Dr. Rox or I?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Rose. Oh.
Okay, I'll go. I had this is for really Trisha. I had the hardest time doing my 5 core values, and I know if I can get that done, it wouldn't it may not change my set of goals, but I know it'll change the way I go about achieving my goals. So I really, really, really want to make sure that I'm doing that right. Can you give examples or a little bit on that part of how to select and write down your values?
So your values are personal to you. So I'm not gonna be able to help point you in the right direction. What I would say to you is use the list. Do you have it down to a larger list than 5? Do you have like 10 or 15? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I find myself, writing down values that I should have and not that I do have, because I want to think I'm a better person than I am. That's unfortunate, but it's true. It's like, I'm like, oh, I know what a good answer would be, and I'm writing it down. I'm like, I don't live my life like that. I should, so I do have it, kind of narrowed down. I'm wondering if I can do that, like create my new core values and try to live my life like that so that these become my core values. I don't know. It's kind of like eating right, living right, all of that stuff.
Absolutely. So what would you think about having your true, be honest with yourself, core values list, compare it to the way you'd like to live your life, and creating a strategy behind getting there?
That's a goal all by itself. I love it. I'm going to add that to my goal list as well. Thank you.
You got it.
I think the disc
right.
styles helps too, to develop the core
Absolutely.
values. When you look at the disc styles, that really will narrow of where you are, but where you want to be. So I think that helps a lot, looking at those, just the verbiage of it and trying to find the right word.
Edith, I think we talked over you a second ago. Do you have a question?
Yeah, so I incorporated something that I'm doing. I would like to get Dr. Roxanne's opinion. So I do a shake, a natural shake of vegetables, and I put like a fruit in every morning, me and my husband. And I just wanted to get this, that's natural made, by God. So I'm thinking that hopefully it's okay, but I would like to get your opinion on it. So generally it's like a beet, broccoli, celery, or like an apple. Sometimes we add pineapple to it. So it depends, and we cut it and we freeze it, and then we just shake it in the morning and then drink that instead of actually eating, an egg sometimes. Would that be okay, or is it just like a bunch of glucose altogether?
Well, first I would ask, are you just doing the juice from it, or are you getting the pulp and the fiber that's in the vegetables?
We drink it all. So we use like a NutriBullet type of, then to just mix it, and we just drink everything. Right.
So the only thing, all that sounds good. Okay, when you juice food, one of the issues is in order to, like carrot juice, people say, is carrot juice bad? I'm like, well, you have to blend like 10 or 15 carrots to get a little bit of juice. So that's a lot of carbs and even sugar you're getting in that, because normally we would never eat 10 carrots. We just couldn't. So when you juice, you're throwing a whole bunch of food to get a little bit of liquids, but you're still getting all the calories. So as long as you are not putting in 10 celery sticks and, a big old huge thing of broccoli, and as long as it's just a little bit, because just look at how much you're putting in there. That's about how much you should be eating. That would be okay. But my only concern is you don't have protein with it. So that's just like eating a bowl of vegetables without a protein. And so that's mostly all carbs. So I would suggest you eat some protein with that to try to balance the glucose from getting in your system too fast.
Okay. So like drinking maybe like a glass with like some food.
Yes.
Like
some protein. Yeah.
Thank you.
Julia?
This question is for Dr. Roxanne. On that card, I printed it out. I just haven't read it. I just printed it out last night. What is a good ratio when we're doing the numbers, like calories from fat? What is a good number to stay around?
Right. So calories of fat, like my fat, I try to stay below 20% of fat. only because my brother died of a heart attack at 53. So I know I have heart disease in my family, but most people, I say, just keep it under 25 to 30% fat. If you're trying to lose weight, I say don't do more than 25%. Stay between 20 to 25% fat if you're trying to lose weight. If you're just worried, you don't want to do a lot of fat, then do under 30%.
Okay, because obviously we said that 93 or 97 ground turkey wasn't good. I was like 46. So
Right.
as long as that's within the 25 range, that would be something healthy or good to eat. Okay.
Right. The only thing I want to add, their avocados are pretty much 100% fat. Of course, coconut oil is 100% fat. So you can do a little bit of those fats, but you shouldn't exceed more than like 2 servings of those kind of fats a day, because your body only uses a certain amount of fat, and the extra fat gets converted to cholesterol and triglycerides. So you can use some healthy fat. Some people want to do 1/4 of an avocado in their salad. I'm not against that. When we're talking about healthy fats, you're talking about protein fats, like how much fats are protein. But so for your meats, you definitely want to go lean, and lean is between under 25% fat. But I don't want people to think that they can't have some nuts or some avocado or some coconut oil. You can, but minimal, like 2 servings of that a day, not a lot of it.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Gretchen.
So I've dusted off my air fryer, and this weekend I did sliced up some eggplant and did those in the air fryer, but I did wipe, kind of do a little spritz of, oil. Yeah. So is that okay?
That is okay. Just as long as you're spritzing it, it's fine. Okay. It's better than putting it in a skillet with the oil.
Oh, yeah.
Because, a lot of people will spritz it. And what I do with my spritzer, I have some coconut oil and water. It's mixed together, and I kind of shake it up in my little spritzer, and then I spritz it. That way, not as much. It's still 100% fat, even though I have water in it, but it's not. I don't have to use as much oil to spritz my vegetables. Because I like to spritz it a little bit. Sometimes I do a tiny bit of oil so that the seasoning will hold on to the vegetable. Because water, it just rolls off. But if I have a little bit of oil, the seasoning will hold on to the vegetables in the air fryer.
All right, so we love you guys, but we're almost at the end. And I want to remind you all of the work that you've already done. So from the beginning, I know it's going to be week 3 already, if you guys can believe that. So we've already gone through business and health behavior. And this last week, we went through mindset and labels. Next week, we're going to talk about your strategy, your plan. It could be for your business or your health. And Roxanna is going to talk about how to eat on the go and give you some tips for eating out and drive-throughs as my head explodes. Like, don't go through the drive-through, just don't do it. But healthy alternatives if you are having to eat on the go. And I know a lot of us are going to get back to that soon, where we're in our cars and we're going different places. You guys are doing an amazing job. I want to remind you, we will be meeting next week, but we're on a break week the following week. All right, the week of the 9th and the 11th is a break week. And it's because we've piled so much content on you for the first 3 weeks that you need some time to catch up so that we can move into the next set of live meetings. It doesn't mean that you can stop working on your homework. It just gives you a little more time to get through the things that you're going to learn this week. Is everyone getting on the coursework okay? Everyone is, I know we've got a couple of new people that are going to get on the coursework. All right. So that's what we're going to be focused on, is your strategic plan and eating on the go. I will open up the content shortly after we get off this call. So you'll have access to all of part 1 and all of part 2. And per your request, I put a video at the end of part 1 that said, yay, you finished. So you don't have to move on unless you want to for Tuesday's meeting. Okay, so part 1 is for Tuesday's meeting and part 2 is for Thursday's meeting. Does that make sense? All right, I have, Roxanne, do you have any parting words? So I have one more thing that I want to ask.
No, y'all are doing awesome. And again, if y'all need to reach out to me and ask a question, remember you can text me at 713-906-6575. Text. I'm really just your coach in the sense that we are a team. and you're not going to bother me. And I don't want you to have to feel like you have to wait till next Tuesday to ask me questions. So feel free
Yeah,
to contact me. I want to see success with each and every one of you.
Absolutely. That's a
Say
great
that number
point, Dr.
again.
Roxanne.
713-906-6575.
And thank you so much, Trisha. You can do it maybe in chat, since we're going to be talking about strategic next week. I'm curious if there's a resource you can recommend for us. I want to do a business plan. Is there a software? Is there a book you'd recommend to get started with, since everything is so new processes with the virus and everything? What do you suggest?
Sure, absolutely, Regina. It won't go in this chat because we're going to shut the meeting, but I will definitely put that on Facebook. So you guys be watching for that. I'll put some ideas out there. And remember that Facebook is also a resource for you